stay a while and listen.
Hello, welcome to the Agony of Positivity AOP podcast. I am Ross, and today, hailing from parts unknown, Ohio, the master of the well-done steak, Saul.
Yes.
I'm practicing. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to try to get into being a referee and an announcer. So,
speaking of steak, my wife just cooked some steaks.
Did you have her burn it to charcoal?
Yeah, she does. She does, actually.
Well, that's how you prefer them, correct?
It is. But there's like some kind of glaze she used with soy in it.
Yeah, like soy sauce or soybean.
Soy sauce, yeah. I'm not a big fan.
Is it like a bourbon style glaze?
Yes.
Okay. See, I like brown sugar and soy, but I usually do that on chicken.
Oh, gotcha.
So
yeah, it wasn't
You know, it would be a funny video. I wouldn't want to waste the money for it, but if we were to go to like a fancy steakhouse and get very nice cuts, where you asked for it well done, and then I put ketchup on it, because I still get my steaks medium, and for the most part, I eat about 3/4 of my steaks when I fix them at home, maybe half, with no ketchup or sauce or anything on it, because it's the proper way. But I just like ketchup on steak, so I will put ketchup on a few of my bites of steaks. And
you know, I don't think I've ever seen anybody put ketchup on steak before.
It is a crime. I would say possibly a sin to people who are super into steak.
Yeah.
So now I'm willing to put an awful lot of effort into my steak, because I'll do the reverse sear, where you cook it in the oven and get it to about like your 130-ish range, and then you pan sear it the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But regardless whether it's ribeye or a strip steak, I'll still put a little bit of ketchup on my plate, and some of my bites of steak are going to have ketchup on it. And you're not supposed to do that.
You know, what really just grosses me out?
Sewage.
No, like on food. Like putting ketchup on meatloaf and then like cooking it.
Well, if you don't do that, you're just making ground beef with Frosted Flakes in it.
That's fine. That's I don't like. Oh man, it grosses me out. When you like.
Well, you got to make that like that cap on it with the ketchup.
Oh no, it grosses me out.
So then you just want ground beef with like onions and cornflakes in it?
No onions, but yes.
So you just want ground beef?
Hey, cornflakes, yes.
Okay. It's better with Frosted Flakes, but people will tell you that it's not. You can use Lucky Charms if you really want. I mean, you're an adult. Whatever you want to do.
So how has your week been? Or what has annoyed you? Or actually, what has gave you some kind of positivity?
Oh, there's no positivity in this one. So,
okay.
Obviously, we're going to get into Fighter Fest and some other stuff like the normal show. But so I had a job. I'll actually say what it is now that I'm not there, because I don't think I'll get myself in trouble at this point. Like, I can't do anything to cause that. So, often referred to I did as helping people find swords and blacksmiths and all that. It was really healthcare. So, trying to find an in-network doctor. I think it was pretty obvious what I was talking about, but just in case it wasn't for somebody, made us work from home. There wasn't an option for that. Like, where I'm at used to be my wife's workspace, and I would use it for the podcast. Basically, to set up my own desk at home to work from home was the biggest pain in the butt ever, and I did not want to do it. So I held off as long as I could until they literally forced me out the door.
Sure.
So leaving that job, like, they did some real entertaining stuff at the end where, so I had to use my own personal internet. They weren't paying for it, and obviously they weren't giving a kickback for utilities or anything, but they sent out something where if you have an internet outage or a power outage, you have to use your paid time off to cover the downtime for that. Or you could make it up, or you could just take unpaid time. But even though they were mooching off my services, basically, to do the work, now granted, I didn't have to drive there, but we don't have the most reliable power or internet at times. So it's a known, like, they're creating a known issue and then penalizing me for it. So obviously that wasn't the only thing, but I just thought that was a funny thing towards the end, where, because I asked them, I was like, well, since you're going to penalize us for something that's completely out of our control, are you going to start paying for our internet so that it's the company's problem and not mine? Or can I go back to the office? And they're like, those aren't going to be options at this time. So I was like, 'cause it's funny, like that same day, I had a internet outage. Like, it was perfect. And I was like, well, I guess I'm on vacation. So,
sure.
But so when I was in the process of leaving, so I made my thoughts known about that, because I don't think that is fair, basically. Now, had I volunteered, had I been like, yes, I want to work from home, okay, well, you know, it's going to be your utilities and you're going to be responsible for that time. That'd be a totally different story where I was looking for that situation.
True. Yeah.
That's why I wasn't looking for a work from home job in the first place.
Yeah.
But either way, so go to Lee and I'm like, well, so since we can't go back to the office, I was like, so can I just take my equipment to the building and drop it off? And they're like, nah, there's no one there anymore. And I was like, all right, so are you guys just going to send me some boxes with shipping labels and stuff like that? And they're like, yeah, we'll send it out to you. So get the boxes from work to put all my stuff in it. There are no shipping labels. So fortunately, I still had my, what was my manager's contact information, like cell phone, send text messages like, hey, this is Ross. I got the boxes. They didn't send me a return label. So there's no way to, I don't even know where these are supposed to go to. I expected to be told that I needed to take it somewhere and pay for it myself, truthfully, at this point.
Yeah.
That did not happen. They're like, all right, we're going to talk to whoever it is and we'll get back to you. So I was contacted, let's say it was Wednesday, in the middle of the day, like 2 o'clock. Contacted, like, hey, they're going to be there tomorrow to pick it up. You're going to have to give it to them. Well, I'm not going to be here. That's incredibly short notice. And they're like, oh, can you leave it on your porch? I was like, if you want it stolen, yeah, I'll gladly do that. You know, so we go back and forth for a while, and it just so happened that I happened to actually be here when they came, or actually my wife just happened to be here. Like, something happened. It was a bizarre circumstance that she happened to be here, because I had it like sitting by the door and gave it to him, but it was like middle of the day basically. So it would have been sitting for quite a while. We've never had anything so far taken from our porch, but we aren't in the best of neighborhoods. So it is 100% a possibility that, you know, and it's kind of hard to hide 3 big boxes because it's 2 monitors and a desktop, and it says, and the boxes they sent me say Dell all over them. So there's no, you know, you're not hiding that it's a monitor, and, you know, like, it's pretty obvious what it is. And, you gotta take, but I was just so frustrated because I was like, so on the way out, like, not only forced to work, and I understand, like, the work from home with the virus and everything, I get it, but I would have been literally one of the very few people in the office, which is why they couldn't have it, because they're saving money. There's a money side to it, whatever. But then when it's like, well, if your energy company or your internet, if they can't get their stuff together, we're going to hold you accountable for that. Well, that's not cool. Especially when I wasn't looking for it. If I had no internet, I guess they would have paid for the internet, and then it wouldn't have counted against me because it's not my service provider.
Sure.
But they would have got the exact same company that I have. So I just don't understand. Like, so power or lightning strikes my house and kills my power. That's a day off that I'm having to, like, that just seems so absolutely ridiculous when you've forced me to rearrange my home. You're using my electricity. You're using my internet. And then the whole thing, I'm like, I appreciate that you guys gave me like a half a day notice that, oh yeah, they're going to be there tomorrow. No, and I was like, well, can they just leave like a return label in my mailbox and I'll just take it to the UPS store? That seems pretty reasonable, right?
Sure.
Yeah, no, they're
so.
not doing that. So over time now, I will tell some funny insurance type stories.
Okay.
I'll have to think them out in advance because you got to be real careful to not give details away for people for privacy. But I think I can. There's some fun, like some interesting things that I can make very, very generalized. That would be something to look out for. I would like to say, if anyone has old people in their lives who are going to be eligible for Medicare, when they become eligible for Medicare, make sure they have a prescription drug plan, or they're going to start racking up a penalty that if they ever get a prescription drug plan, they're going to have to pay for. It's really dumb, and Medicare itself doesn't tell you anything about it when you sign up. So if you have like grandparents that are that age, keep an eye out for them if you can. So
this message brought to you today by Agony of Positivity.
Yes. It's a forever penalty. Like, it never ever goes away. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, but that was my frustrations of just the finality to that job. And it wasn't nearly as awesome as the pharmaceutical place where that crazy stuff went down, but holy moly, there's some frustrations. But I'll save some of those stories for other times. So what was your week? Because I already know one thing that drove you insane.
Well, and I'm going to say it's probably my top annoyance this week. It's not as agonizing as yours, but so where we live at in Ohio here, we have a coding system for the COVIDs.
It's very good.
So, sure, yeah. So it's like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 4 is the most extreme, but the color system, I have a problem with this.
I don't see why.
I mean, so like level 1 is like yellow. Okay, it's caution. I get it. Then like level 2 is orange. Okay, all right.
Right.
Now this is where I start having a problem. Level 3 is bright red.
Right. Well, red's a very severe warning usually, like thunderstorms.
Yeah, but then like level 4 is purple. I have a problem with this. Why would you make purple like level 1? And then like the most severe
is
level
red?
4. Make it red. I mean, red alert. I mean, it's in every movie. It's all of us growing up. We know red is caution or stop or.
Right.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It's and I think I texted you this. It's like instead of like our governor using like colors, he would have used like dinosaurs, for example, and he would have used like T-Rex for level 3, and level 4 he used like a Triceratops or
because you sent me that and I wasn't following along very well. I was like, why would the Triceratops be higher than the T-Rex? And you were like, exactly.
So, I mean, it's just a little annoyance. I feel like saying, whoever's in this meeting, I just want to be like, hey, guys, why are you using level 4 purple? Level 4 red.
Right. Normally. Or like red and yellow stripes or something, or red and orange stripes. Something.
No. We gotta do all fancy like that. This color.
Red.
Just red.
I don't know. Well, it seems like level 1 you could just do as like green.
Green
or like
blue.
A light green or like a greenish yellow.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And then go to your yellow, orange, red. But yeah, it is kind of strange. I'm a fan of using purple. Like a lot of my Excel spreadsheets I had for stuff, I would use purple to draw attention to it, because if you've ever had to make Excel spreadsheets for people to look at, or anyone else who's done that, you know how hard it is to draw someone's attention to something because people don't care Like,
Sure, yeah.
uh,
I don't know.
let me see here.
Ooh, just,
Yeah.
just
Other than that, like I haven't done.
Just rub me the wrong way.
Well, it was funny because you were like, "What is this system? I don't understand." And it is funny. Like I knew there was like the level. I knew there was the 4 levels. I didn't realize what their color coding was for it. Because I would have seen red and been like, "Okay."
Sure.
I would have assumed that was the level 4. Like I would have never thought anything about it.
It just goes on with this. This goes along with everything with this year. It just doesn't make sense, and it's backwards. And I'm ready for next year.
I think we all are at this point. There we go. If you're watching this on YouTube, the reason I'm moving the camera around is I was looking for the timer because I need to mark a time cue on this thing.
And if you're listening to it like I am, you're about as clueless as I am.
Yes.
Because I have no idea what Ross is talking about.
I like that, though. I like when I listen to podcasts where I know they do them on, like, Twitch, for example.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you're watching this, but we usually don't lay out for, like, 10 minutes while someone's, like, showing a picture to look at. Like, we at least kind of talk about what we're looking at. So, yeah. So you got anything else for the week?
Nah, not really. I mean,
you, before we get into anything, have you ever had any desire to try like super hot beef jerky or any of that stuff?
I've tried it before, sure.
Okay. I've watched somehow.
Do I go out of my way to do it? No.
Right. My my YouTube algorithm is now giving me super hot food challenges. Like, it started out because I was looking into reverse searing. I was seeing if there's better techniques than what I was doing. And somehow I clicked on something where somebody made something with the ghost pepper. And now it's like, I got all kinds of Dragon Ball Z stuff. I got food eating stuff. I have fan animated Goku Vegeta eating contests. It's just out of hand. And then all the like random wrestling stuff. Where it's like Hulk Hogan versus Ken Patera, which I have not watched yet. But
I was watching actually about 30 minutes ago before I came up here to do the podcast. I was watching when the NWO invaded Canada, and I guess they were trying to recruit Bret Hart. I think that's where they were going because I turned it off. But it was just weird because all of them came out with Canadian flags, and they're all just waving their flags around. It's weird. I totally forgot about that.
There was some real weird stuff. Here, I'm gonna hit. You want to just go into wrestling?
Yeah, let's go to wrestling.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue pants. This is a revolution.
Okay. I had watched some old Nitro, I think it was, and it was a Hulk Hogan versus Sting match, but it was Hogan. Hogan was wearing all black, and Macho Man was with him, but Sting was still mostly blonde at the time. So Hogan wasn't, like, it wasn't NWO Hogan, because, like, Macho Man wouldn't have been with him that early on in it. Like, because he definitely didn't have, like, the fleshed out Hollywood tights or anything. I think he was just a good guy wearing black for some reason. And
yeah, like Hogan lost his smile or something.
But it was one of those matches where it ends all stupid. Like, I forgot how much, because I basically just had like Nitro streams on recently. How often those matches just ended with a run-in or a DQ or something. And it is infuriating. Like, it makes me appreciate, like, AEW, you pretty much, you're getting a finish. Whether you like it or not is different, but it's not going to be somebody running in and them doing a non-finish. Like, we're eventually going to get a few of those. Like,
I hope.
At some point in time. But
I think some of their matches need that, but yeah.
But at the same time, you don't feel cheated where it's like, well, why'd you guys even... Because I always get to the point where it's like, well, why are you even going to do the match if you're going to do this? Have somebody jump the guy before the match so the match never happens. As opposed to just like you build up this huge match, like Hogan Sting is a pretty big deal, and then for it to just be like the Dungeon of Doom comes out, oh, get out of here. Now
Sure.
in '95, I've been like, oh no, the Dungeon of Doom. Oh, it's not hot. The Booty Man or the Zodiac or whatever the heck his name was. Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of, well, yeah.
The best part though was so the Dungeon of Doom comes out and then Sting and Hogan are kind of fighting them off.
Yeah.
But then the Giant's coming out with like Jimmy Hart or something. And I think it was like Tony Schiavone is like, oh no, the Giant. And then that's the end of the show. It's...
Sure.
Oh,
Well, I
man.
mean, yeah, Nitro did do that a lot because it'd be like, you know, the NWO's coming out and then Sting comes down from the Raptors. Okay, folks, see you next week. It's like, what?
Yeah,
So,
well, I mean, Raw would do it too.
yeah.
But it felt much like WCW did it a lot more, to where it was like, yeah, there's no, like, we knew, like in '96, like I'd go over to one of my buddy's house. It's like, yeah, there's no way this match gets a clean finish. I'd rather see what's going on Raw.
Sure. I was the opposite, but sure. Yeah.
We were pretty split because we liked a lot of everything. But so, like, once WCW started doing really, really dumb stuff, it was just like, what? I don't even care about this. Like, the biggest was like, and Berlin's going to have a mystery partner. And we were like, it's going to be The Wall. And then, you know who it was? It was The Wall. And then The Wall kicked out of Hogan's leg drop. And then Billy Kidman beat Hogan, or I don't even know.
I think when I stopped watching it was when. So the NWO was long gone at this point. Even like the
NWO 2000 with Jarrett.
Yeah, even that was long gone, and they were trying to like do like the Deadpool with Insane Clown Posse. I was kind of into that, and then yeah, they just like no, and this went to I don't know. Was it like Master P on there or something like with his own like?
There was a swole dude who was part of like a rap group.
Okay.
Oh, that's what happened. That was one of the things that was last night that I saw. It was like Rey Mysterio, Conan, and someone else when they were feuding with Kurt Hennig and the Texas Rednecks or whatever with the Rap is Crap song.
Yeah, because you got mad at me. I couldn't think of the name because I called them the Dirty Dogs or whatever. What was that? What was that? Filthy Animals. That's it. Okay.
Right. I don't know if that was the faction, but the Filthy Animals were the ones that they rolled Ric Flair and stole his Rolex.
Yes.
Because I think it might have been Tenay. It was like, they're rolling Ric Flair. See if I can find that later, but that was pretty funny.
Well, and then I remember a storyline that they never finished, and Eric Bischoff even talked about it. Was like when Ric Flair went to an insane asylum or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he got out, and the person driving the bus to get him out of the insane asylum was Scott Hall. And then for whatever reason, they just dropped the angle, and you never saw Scott Hall again. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was one of those. Scott Hall, I think, is why that disappeared.
Sure.
Because there were a few times where Scott Hall, he's just gone.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
So
anyway,
we got so for Fyter Fest, which if anyone cares about the ratings, apparently AEW did some domination on viewers and demos this week.
And boy, do they like to tell you, because they seem very hurt that they lost the viewership, but they won the demo.
I would rather not hear about it.
Yes, because it makes them seem very petty.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like having Jericho do it is one thing, but in general, like I understand why, or I can understand, like we were talking about last week, I can understand Tony Khan clarifying why the demo is important.
Sure.
Now, granted, like you were saying, referring to himself as Big Arm Tony, that kind of stuff, is a little like, I can do without that. But I can see where it's like, look, we are very pleased with the demo because this, and this. However, I don't know. Now, I do like that Jericho, we'll just jump ahead to that real quick, is calling himself the demo god as opposed to a demigod with it. I think that'll be pretty entertaining. But yeah, so I
mean,
NXT
my God,
poor.
how many characters has Jericho had in AEW? It is insane how many.
I wonder how much. I wonder if they're like, you know what? We're not even going to give you money, but we'll give you 100% for your T-shirt sales. Like, you just get the full cost. It was like, I'm going to have a new T-shirt every week. Because he pretty much has a new T-shirt every week.
And they sell good too, apparently. So I mean,
right. Well, some of them are good. They're not shirts that I would wear. If I had a forever home that I knew I was staying at, I would definitely be willing to buy like small poster prints of a lot of the shirts.
Sure. Okay.
To like hang up or something, because some of them are like, oh, that's really cool art. I would never wear this in public. And I'm not spending wrestling money shirt for a lay around the house shirt. So, so I guess, did I catch it right at the beginning of this that Shivani, they just couldn't get his COVID test back in time?
No. What? Okay. So I was having problems with my internet at the time, so I'm kind of tuned in like halfway in this match, so I didn't catch any of that. So at the beginning,
you missed a spectacle, but so we got Taz on commentary, which I like. I enjoy Taz's commentary. I like that you'll sometimes get some rotation with the commentary teams, for sure. But yeah, Schiavone was out, and I think they were saying that he had taken his COVID test, but they didn't get the results back in time, so he's just sitting it out, basically. Not necessarily, I don't think he had it or anything, but it was just an issue that since they didn't get the result, they don't know one way or the other, they just left him out. So I didn't rewind it, I didn't look up anything about it, because I really didn't think about it until right now. But, so Cody comes out, like normal Cody stuff. When Sonny came out, Sonny comes out with like 3 or 4 of the Jacksonville Jaguars cheerleaders and does like an entire dance routine.
Because didn't he do that at pay-per-view last year?
That I'm not sure about. I saw a video that was going around online where back on the independent scene, Aubrey Edwards, the ref, and Sonny did this bizarre dance routine in the middle of a match or post-match or something.
Yeah, because the guy they were wrestling couldn't he like control their dancing or something like that?
I don't know. Like at one point he tried to come up on the apron with like a chain wrapped in his fist, but they did like a dance move where Sonny ended up like the pirouette kind of kick thing. And it was weird because I guess Aubrey is a trained dancer, like ballet. Okay. So she's actually good at dancing, and Sonny kept up pretty well. But it was just like the clip had no context when I saw it. So it's just all of a sudden they start playing music and they're dancing around and then ninja fighting almost with this guy here and there. I was like, part of me wants to know how it got to that point, but I was pleased with just having no clue to the context because it was so out there. So you said you came in about like the middle of the match?
Yeah, I came in about about the middle. I would say the middle.
The beginning part of this match was a little bit weird. Cody just nails a pump kick straight away. They, like the slingshot suplex, where like you pick him up for the slingshot or for the suplex, you drop him on the ropes and then do it.
Yeah.
They went to do that, and there was like no bounce back. And then Cody just kind of like shoved him over, like real weak, like. It just looked weird. So the beginning part of the match felt like a weird fight kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, it just felt it's kind of like when the FTR match and the Lucha Bros. Like, the beginning of that match had a little bit of a misstep to it almost. It was something kind of like that. A lot of the
matches felt that way.
Right. So, and I don't know.
To give them credit, they were wrestling in a soup bowl basically.
Yeah,
because
I looked up the temperature.
78 or something.
It was not. It felt like 93 degrees and 77% humidity.
Yeah, so
you could tell because people were sweating before they made it to the ring.
Oh, sure.
Jeez.
So I can imagine, because just working all day doing the rugs and everything that I do at my job. I mean, it's hard to move around when it's hot like that. So I get it. I understand it. It just
right. So yeah,
it
I
just looks
assume
sloppy.
that definitely had something to do with a lot of it. But
yeah,
overall, once the match got going, it was definitely better than the beginning. You could kind of trying to think of the way. To me, you could kind of tell Sonny was a little bit out of his class, if that makes any sense. Like just the flow of the match.
He's a rookie. I mean,
right.
It is what it is compared to Cody,
Right. Let's see here. Our dogs are going nuts outside. Jeez.
I hear that.
Yes. Let me see here. So what do you think? I'm going to mute myself for a second here. What do you think of the overall finish to this, where they were playing up like Arn Anderson being upset with Cody?
So I think the overall finish of it was, I don't know, because they're teasing heavily that Cody is going to become a heel, but then Arn Anderson was like all mad and everything that Cody was trying to cheat, but just the following week, Arn Anderson was cheating.
Well, I don't think he was mad that he was cheating. Because when he did the little coach's corner thing, it was more that Cody didn't have his head in the game.
Well, no, when he ripped the turnbuckle off, he's like, "That's not needed." That's
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's like, "That's not needed." I was like, "Well, you cheated last week, so I mean, why can you cheat and he can,
Yeah, I noticed that the turnbuckle was off, and I assumed Cody pulled it off.
Yeah,
but yeah, that is kind of out of place.
I'm just so who's the bad guy? Are you being the bad guy, or is Cody the bad? So
right.
I think their storytelling right there needs to be, I don't know, more finely tuned.
Right.
There.
Well, yeah, because Arn was pulling Cody out of the way and stuff like that, which is more managerial. I could see kind of a divide, but you're in choppy water at that point if you're going that way. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise that Cody won.
Yeah.
I think it was probably a good experience for Sonny overall. I'm sure he'll be better from it.
Sure.
Probably one of his better matches too that I've ever seen. Because
he just needs to define his character more. I need more from a character than just twerking.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, one of the things I think as well is a lot of Sonny's moves are cool,
okay. Yeah.
but there's not a lot of a big impact move, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kenny Omega, I'll use him as the example. He's got the V trigger, which is kind of a big move, but he's also got a few different slams and throws and that kind of stuff to go with One Wing Angel is his super finisher, but he's got Tiger Driver 98, those kind of things where it's a big move. It doesn't feel like Sonny has any big move where you're gonna catch him and hit it, and then you're gonna recover and you're gonna be able to go on the offense, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But it just seems lot of if you were playing the old No Mercy style games, you start with the light grapple moves that don't really do a lot, but you're trying to wear them down. Feels like Sonny moves are a lot of light grapples, and there's no no heavy grapple moves like big slams or bombs or something like that.
Yeah, if I was in control of whatever AEW's creative is, I don't know. I would probably tell Sonny maybe work more, basically to slow down some. Because it seems like like you said, he just tries to do way too much.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look right. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that, that's one of my big criticisms sometimes with the women's matches, regardless of the company, is there'll be a difference in intensity or pace between the two people. Where, you used to see, when someone threw Bret Hart into the turnbuckle and he took that, chest bump, you know what I'm talking about? And he just ate it. Imagine if the guy who was throwing him into the turnbuckle wasn't really like, like where they lay out with it with the throw or something like that, it'd look ridiculous. Sometimes I see where people look like they're trying to throw the other into the turnbuckle, and the other person's just kind of like sauntering over there. It's like one person's doing doesn't match the other, and with Sunny, sometimes like the speed comes a little bit off, but I mean it's all correctable. And like you said, like slowing down, I'm sure there was a little bit of possibly nerves, maybe not, but just wanting to make sure you do a good job because it's a big opportunity. So, but I mean it was fine. Like there was nothing wrong with it.
But like you said, I knew Cody was going to win. So
yeah, it was more like what can Sonny do in this match, which I'm okay with because like when Cena was doing the open challenge for the U.S. title, I knew most likely the people coming out weren't going to beat him, but I was just wanting to see like someone who would normally not be in a position to get a big match, see what they could do.
Well, in Cena's. Anytime you talk about Cena, the people that Cena should lose to never lost to him. So I mean, one day I hope we get the "You Can't See Me" documentary, like the Undertaker one, to find out some of the things that were going on there. So we got this match, one of your favorites, the Lucha Brothers. Yeah.
And we got FTR. It's weird, like, at this point, FTR feels normal to me for the name, and Dax and Cash feel normal as the names now.
Yeah, to me too.
It took about, a month? So, way quicker than it took me to distinguish one buck from the other before I knew who they were, truth be told.
Sure.
So, I didn't realize that they just, for real, stole FTR's truck.
Apparently, yes.
But what do you think of this one?
I don't think it was as good as I thought it was going to be. Again, because they were. I think maybe a lot of it had to do because they were wrestling in the Soup Bowl.
Right.
They just seemed off.
Yeah, this one. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of build up to it either.
Yeah.
Like, there just didn't feel like there wasn't there's a story obviously because the FTR is basically calling out every tag team ever, and they accuse Lucha Brothers of not following the rules, kind of, which is 100% true.
Sure.
But yeah, like the beginning of the match was just a little bit off. I mean, these guys have, I assume these guys have never touched before, other than that 8-man tag. So some getting used to each other, super hot. There's definitely a styles clash that I imagine the next time they have a match, it will be much better.
Well, if because I thought I heard one of the Young Bucks say that there's there's sometimes a language barrier. When they're in the
I was
ring
going
with
to actually mention that it's like the Bucks have worked with the Lucha Bros enough that they probably don't even need to talk most of the time.
Sure.
I don't know if Dax or Cash know any Spanish.
Sure.
At all.
Well, that one move that the Lucha Brothers did, it looked bad. That flub up they did, I don't know when it was. It was like they were trying to do some kind of where they pick the other one up and slam it down on them, but they messed it up.
Is it where they do like almost like a victory roll?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Yeah, they were a little bit sloppy. A little bit stiff chop there on Mr. Hardwood's chest.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. I'm like, are they really hitting each other here?
Like, is there some legitimate anger here? Did somebody not cut their fingernails? He is too busy practicing his zero fear.
So if you were a heel in wrestling and you really wanted this match to look really good, would you give people stiff shots to hopefully them do stiff shots and then just apologize later for it?
If I knew the person or not, that would be a conversation I would be having before the match.
Okay, gotcha.
Which I think is typically what happens. Yeah. Because again, like I've used it, like if for some reason someone was like gun to our family's head and be like, you two are going to have a match and it better look good. We would probably both be like, well, we'll just lay stuff in so it doesn't look bad. Like I'd rather you bruise me a little bit. Than not.
And apologize later. Sure. Yeah, I get it.
Because like you see that with the Bucks and the Lucha Bros all the time, where like you're watching, and you're like, that sure looked mighty stiff. Now whether it is or not, it's hard to say. Supposedly, like chops, for example, like Kofi was talking about this on the New Day podcast, and Big Show, like they had Big Show on, and he was saying like when he does his like the super big hand chop or whatever, like he can make it really loud and not really hurt very much, or he can really lay it in and it's going to be really loud and it's going to hurt. He's like, if you owe me some money or I don't like you, you're probably going to get closer to the hurt side than the sound good side.
Sure.
But yeah, so this match, I mean, it wasn't a bad match, but expectations were super high for me. Yeah. Trying to think, what do you think of the finish where he just ripped the mask off?
I mean, I think it helped. I think that's good storytelling on FTR's part, because it shows that they're in it to win. They don't care, and I think they even said on their Instagram page they don't care about the lucha rules.
Tradition.
They're here to win. So
right. Well, yeah, because I think Excalibur said that like in AAA, you'd be disqualified for doing that, but those rules aren't here. But it gives FTR wins, but it's like it's a clean win in a way. But anyone watching it is like, oh, that's kind of dirty. Sure. I did not know Phoenix was bald. Because it looked like his head was shaved. So, oddly enough, there was a independent show where Moxley fought Pentagon, and that was the finish. Is he pulled the mask off and then hit the Death Rider.
Oh, okay.
So, and then with this one, yeah, I like that finish. Basically, saying I thought it was a clever way to get a finish and not just 100% a clean cut winner. Like, anyone seeing it'll be like, yeah, I can see. Like, if they didn't do that, this match keeps going for a while. We get the Bucks get FTR's truck back. Mm-hmm. Kenny Omega. I was trying to. Did he come out with like near beer, like O'Doul's? Is that what it was?
I don't know what it was.
But FTR was not having it.
Sure.
And they dumped him on Kenny's head, which I assume has caused him to lose his mind.
Yeah, because we later on we get a little bit of the heel Kenny.
Yeah. Well, they've been alluding to him getting closer and closer to being the cleaner on being the elite. So,
which I think he needs to, because.
Well, have you seen the infographic comparing his time in AEW versus his last year in New Japan?
Yeah, I did actually.
Where it's theoretically his winning percent and everything is better in AEW. It just doesn't feel like it.
His character was better in New Japan.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, no one really cares about the wins help, sure, and the win losses, whatever. But we only care about the character.
Right. Yeah, it makes it better. But now I think it was more because people were saying that he's just been losing, but that's not the case. But for whatever reason, the perception is that he's not doing anything. So him getting a little bit of a change in character will probably be for the better. The big thing is FTR's truck wouldn't start.
Yeah,
so I wonder if the Bucks sabotaged it.
I did see that. Yeah.
And then throughout the night, we got shots of Adam Page, the unlicensed bartender.
Yes.
So FTR shows up with him eventually, but the next thing we had was Jericho came out with Hager, Santana, and Ortiz with some orange juice jugs. And basically talked about ratings, has declared himself the demo god. Put over Orange Cassidy to some degree.
So I heard people complaining about this, and they were complaining about about the logic of this, because they're like, so Orange Cassidy is a sloth, lazy person, he would not have went up there and filled, you know, filled
But-
like whatever that thing was that dumped the stuff on Jericho.
You know who would?
Who
His
would?
best friends, Trent and Chuck.
Okay, but they didn't allude to that, did they?
No, but I mean that would be my immediate assumption because he's not going to do that.
Sure.
But
So-
he would have someone do it for him, I'm sure, or someone would be like, "Hey, do this." But yeah, that is me creating how that happened.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I
that's
don't-
pretty much like when I saw that I was like, well, I would assume that that's going to lead to a trios match.
Yeah.
So
I don't get it. I just don't get this. I don't get this feud. I'm not in it. I'm not in it.
if there was a crowd, this would be so different. But,
Maybe the crowd is missing in this, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, eh.
I mean, I'm curious though if they're going to transition Orange Cassidy to just like basically they've established the laid back part, but they're just going to have him actually come out and wrestle for real at this point.
Well,
Like if this was
apparently,
the
'cause
transition to get him to that.
I was reading some kind of the rumor mill there, and they said that was what Tony Khan told him to do. They told him just basically when you come in, don't show people that you can actually wrestle.
Right.
So, which
Yeah, like hold that off for a while and then build to it.
yep. So
Right.
who knows? Maybe that's what
So
they're
and
doing.
it could be that they're just pulling the trigger on it now. Like we'll have to see the end result but the thing is like they did like the Austin or the DX thing where they just dropped a ton of orange juice on Jericho,
Sure.
which I was suspicious of him wearing a perfectly white blazer.
Sure.
Cause yeah, but I like that. Did you catch on? So after all that, Jericho's screaming and they give him the towel that's the Orange Cassidy towel, which I actually didn't see coming until like right before, and I was like, oh, like I can't believe I got caught off guard by that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jericho, there's going to be a continuation of that feud one way or the other. My favorite part was so Taz left the commentary booth and Jericho was joining them on commentary for this next match.
Yeah.
The placation of Jim Ross to Jericho and just the crap that Excalibur was giving Jericho was fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I was amused by that. But yeah, so we got the Elite, Kenny, and the Bucks against Lucha Express. I would love to see Luchasaurus do other moves at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, Jungle Boy is fine. Marco's stunt. But Luchasaurus, like, I get that he's the power guy,
Yeah.
but it feels like he's just doing, like, kicks and flips.
Yes.
I don't know.
Pretty much.
Like, I don't know what I want out of him,
Yeah.
but, like, it's not even... Because he does, like, some incredibly athletic stuff for being that size. But it just doesn't impress me at all at this point.
Yeah. I think Jurassic Express. I don't know why I always call them Lucha Express. The Jurassic Express. I think they really need like fans to cheer them on.
Yeah.
And without fans, I think they kind of look,
Right. Let me see here. Yes, I mean, the end result is, the Snapdragons that Kenny did to Marco were ridiculous in this match.
Yes.
To where they were like
Yes.
borderline unsafe looking.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen stuff going around currently of Kota Ibushi just dropping people on their head, but it
No.
felt like that. Like I think they were safe, but it just looked so bad. They did another crazy Jurassic exploder Terminator thing.
It looked bad.
It was scary. Like, the setup took too long.
Yes.
And the actual move itself, I was like, that just, I don't like them to the mat like that, basically. Like, they freak me out.
When you have Nick getting up and helping the move so they can do the move to his brother, it just, I'm like, you guys waited you're exposing the thing way too much.
Yeah, it took too much time. The one they did last week in the 8-man was pretty fluid.
Yes.
Like, this one, it was like, can we do something better than that? And it was like, man, I just hate destroyers at this point.
Yeah, especially when people just kick out of them. So
yeah, that's the other thing is, like, it doesn't end anything. So
yeah,
but yeah, end result, we get one-winged angel on Marco, and then Kenny just goes nuts and starts beating the crap out of Marco.
It's the only thing I enjoyed about this match, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Marco getting beat up. I mean, he's a cheater. Last week was it last week? Yeah, he just jumped on Wardlow for no reason.
Yeah,
filthy cheater.
So I'm really hoping we get to see heel Bucks and heel Omega.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, the whole thing, because you get FTR with Hangman as well. Like, there were, like, something weird's gonna happen, and I don't know what at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna play that. I mean,
like, if the entire Elite is just disbanded, kinda.
Well, the problem is, it's FTR is playing the heel roles, and then if the Elite goes the heel roles, you're just gonna have a bunch of heels fighting each other, which is weird,
well,
you know?
I wonder if they're gonna do something where we're being led to believe that Paige is gonna be with FTR, but it really ends up Kenny being with FTR somehow.
Okay, yeah.
And Hangman and the Bucks kind of, work through their issues or something.
Okay, yeah.
Because that would be kind of interesting. I mean, eventually I assume we're getting a Kenny Hangman one-on-one match, which hopefully will be good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm going to skip this. We had the Sheeta interview.
Yeah.
We had kind of like a filler match here with the Nightmare Sisters, Brandy and Allie. On Dark, this has actually been a little bit interesting to me because they've slowly kind of started working together in a weird way.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, as soon as QT was gone, it became slightly more interesting to me. Like, when it was just like her probably sabotaging QT, I was like, I've seen this like a dozen times. Even though I don't know for sure that that's where they were going with it, it sure felt like that. Now it's like, well, I wonder what they're going to do here. So
yeah, it's a little bit more interesting. Yeah.
But I mean, it's still whatever. Was weird that Dustin had red and white this time instead of the red and black.
I wish Dustin just get rid of the face paint.
Yeah,
I mean, not a fan of it.
Maybe it's his comfort zone. So we actually talked about this off air a little bit. This next part, Nyla has introduced her manager. Which is, I should have made the excuse me thing and just kept playing it nonstop. But we got Vicky Guerrero as the manager for Nyla Rose, which is a big deal to have Vicky somewhere that's not WWE, basically.
So thank God I missed this whole Vicky Guerrero thing in WWE because I don't really remember her. I mean, I know who she is, but as far as like actually watching her thing,
yeah, she was like general manager, and she married Edge, and she married she married like Dolph Ziggler or something. I forget. There's like she was in a lot of relationships.
Sure,
but the thing is, like, she did like the excuse me thing, and they were so aggressive with having her in segments that it was a combination of she was really good at making you angry, but you also were sick of her. That's how it
she's
felt
really
to
good.
me.
This character makes me want to turn off the TV. So
Right. There's
yes.
a small dose of her as like the obnoxious heel. She does it very well. Like
Yeah,
almost too well. I think in AEW you're not going to have a ton of it. So it won't drive you insane. Like it won't make you want. It's like the old days where you wanted to see somebody get beat up. Like she had that effect on me when she was doing like the general manager and all that stuff, where it was like, I want someone to just accidentally super kick her in the head. Like she was excellent at it, but it wasn't like I hated Vicky Guerrero. I just didn't like the character, which is what how it's supposed to
be. But that character is meant to drive you crazy like that. So
right.
I get it, but
But it was just so much, and like she eventually, like, you know, someone got one over on her, but it took a while. But it always felt good. So now you brought up a good point though, which I'll let you explain, because you basically like does Nyla need Vicky Guerrero?
Yeah, so like I have no problem with Vicky Guerrero being a manager, because I think some of the women are in AEW are good wrestlers. I don't think they've developed their mic skills yet.
Right.
So I have no problem with her being with somebody. Nyla Rose does not need Vicky Guerrero. It's a weird pairing, because I thought Nyla Rose does a pretty good job with the mic.
Yeah, she is good on the mic. I mean, if you ever listen to interviews with her, she's very good at talking, and like she's an interesting person to listen to. And when she's talking about I'll use her wording of the wrecking bitches. Yeah, it's like, oh, all right, she's a bad guy, but I'm still interested in seeing what's going to happen here.
Sure, I mean, so I don't know. I question this manager choice.
Right. Well, my thought,
I don't think she needs it.
Right, and I would agree that she does not need Vicky Guerrero, but the promo she cut the previous week, and this is my take on it, where she pointed out like all the people who have managers or coaches or whatever, and how it's made things better for them. Like Cody's a good example, where Cody doesn't really need Arn. However, Arn gives him even a little bit more. I almost wonder if with this, they're just trying to build up that a manager is a viable, important role in AEW. That even someone like Nyla, who's a powerhouse and is very capable, still acknowledges that there's a benefit to having a manager. So if people have a manager, you know, it's like a built-in story to it, kind of.
But now I will say, like with Arn Anderson and Cody, now I could be wrong by this. This is just my guess. I think they introduced Arn to Cody as his manager or whatever. So basically, later on down the road, whenever this is going to be, when Arn turns on them, this is just what I think. When Arn turns on him, it's going to make a more lasting,
right? Like,
oh my God, that's a betrayal type thing,
right?
I don't see that storyline happening with with Vicky Guerrero and Nyla.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm saying they use that story, but at the moment you have Sean Spears has a manager. Cody has a manager.
Sure.
Dark Order kind of has a manager, if you want to think about it in a sense, where they have like someone at ringside all the time. Basically, having like your second at ringside is a big deal. Nyla, I took it as she recognizes that gives her another advantage and stacks the deck in her favor. So, but I mean, I absolutely agree. She doesn't need a manager, but if they're trying to do something that way where maybe they want more people to have managers, but to actually have it, you know, like instead of just everybody all of a sudden has a manager, people are like, man, if you have a manager, you got someone looking out for you. That's way better than me being out here on my own, getting distracted and all kinds of other stuff. So,
and if this was real,
yeah,
why wouldn't you have somebody out there on ringside with you?
Well, yeah, if your opponent's going to have somebody out there, you would want somebody. Like, it'd be silly not to. It'd be like a UFC fighter being like, no, I don't need anybody in my corner. I'll Vaseline my own cuts up.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
but I mean, I think that I don't think it's going to hurt Nyla. I think it'll be good for her. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. She doesn't need Vicky, but my hope is that it's for a bigger purpose, like for everybody, to just show, hey, these are good. So that was actually like right before the main event. So we get the FTW champion against the AEW World Champion.
Yep.
Finally. I'd say Taz and Cage did an excellent job of killing a couple weeks with everything falling apart. The FTW title was pretty cool. The fact that he was defending the FTW championship on Dark in a title match was good. Yeah, obviously he wasn't going to lose that match, but it was still like, well, at least they're defending it and they're making the ring announcer announce him as the FTW champion. So that was cool. Yeah. What do you think overall of this one?
I mean, it wasn't bad, but I don't know. Maybe it's because Moxley hasn't been there.
Right.
I don't know. It just, to me, it
was a match.
Yeah. It was just a match. But...
I liked it on the sense that Moxley was like, I'm going to go after the injured arm. Which normally going after like a repaired body part is the heel's role. But he kind of does that like gray area. I felt like, just watching it, I was like, Cage isn't selling his arm at all, though. Like, Moxley would like do all kinds of stuff, and then Cage just no-sold it, basically. Like he was Undertaker or something. So I don't know if that was intended or what it was. But I like that they, like, Taz had talked up in a couple of the promos where, like, because Cage is so big around the neck and stuff that the paradigm shift isn't going to be as effective because it's not going to compress him basically the same way. So he kicked out a paradigm shift. Although now that basically big people kick out of the paradigm shift apparently, because Brody did and Cage has. So I wonder if he's going to move on to a new finisher. But I mean, it was
because I've always liked the DDT as a finisher.
Right. Well, I like when he does like the elevated one.
That one looks scary, so I don't.
Yeah. Well, ask Darby about the Avalanche version. Jeez. But yeah, so this ends up with. I mean, for the most part, it was like a kind of back and forth. They did definitely beat the crap out of each other throughout the match. But the finish came where we got Moxley gets him in like an arm bar, and there's like multiple like attempted reversals. But he finally like just gets him where he's just staring at Taz, and Cage isn't going to tap out, and Taz finally throws in the towel for him. And I mean, they put over on commentary pretty big that, you know, Taz has an investment and an interest in Cage doing well. He doesn't want his arm to get re-injured and be out for 5 or 10 more months of rehab time. So
that was good. That was good storytelling.
Yeah, I think that along with the FTR match, as far as a finish goes, that's fine. And they've played up on Twitter. Cage was like, I'm going to evaluate Taz's position, basically. Whether he wants to basically dismiss Taz from his duties.
He just steals the FTW championship.
Well, that would be interesting, because then you give, like, Taz can turn on Cage and go with Darby, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Like, I imagine they'll stay together, because, you know, they can explain, like, Cage understands it, but he doesn't want him to do that again. Something like that.
Sure.
But it does make sense, and especially the way they got it. Once you're on your belly in an armbar like that, you're in a bad way.
Yeah.
So, he's not going to tap, like, obviously he's not going to tap to that. He doesn't seem like the kind of person who would. But then we get the return of Darby.
Yeah.
I assume poor Darby is going to get murdered by Cage, is my guess.
Yeah.
This is, to me, like you were talking about, like, you know, we were talking about like the old WCW stuff. Cage Darby is a match that if it happens right now, something screwy needs to happen with that finish, I think.
Sure.
Or that needs to be built for pay-per-view and be a big deal, because I don't think that's going to be just a Dynamite match that is a throwaway, because whoever loses that is not going to be doing it too hot.
Yeah, I mean, because I assume they're going back to All In is going to be the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully the next couple months they build that up to where it's something big, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, because Darby's not been winning a lot. He could use a big win, but I don't think Cage is going to have another loss.
No, he's busy making videos with Tony Hawk on his ranch or whatever.
Right. I almost wondered, until the finish to this where Darby showed up, I almost wondered if they were going to have Moxley challenge Cage for the FTW title, and then Cage win that match.
See, that would have been cool.
Like, basically they trade, so then somewhere down the road you have a rubber match between them for something. I doubt that's happening now, but I kind of wondered if that wouldn't happen. But then you don't really want the AEW champion losing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they committed to something, and they did it, I think, the best way they could. So,
yeah. But overall, I think Fyter Fest was,
I liked it. I thought it was, like, for it to just follow whatever they did, it was okay. But yeah, like, just everything felt off. Like, things were about, like, a half a step off with everybody. So, let me see here. So did you watch any, like, Raw or anything like that this week?
Just old clips, not current clips.
Nothing current.
So,
I want to look for something real quick here. So, there is a website that somebody made called, it's wrestle.buzz. And it pulls basically, like, it's a real simple website. There's no advertising on the sides of it that I have. I'm using the Edge browser right now, so Lord help me. But it's just like a real simple site. But it's basically some guy I saw on the Reddit Squared Circle or whatever was like, "Hey, I messed around and made this thing," and it basically pulls wrestling news from like all the different sites. So it has like WrestlingObserver.com, and it'll give you a link to the actual site where it's pulling the news from. And then it kind of pulls like some of the headline. So like if it's from Fightful, a lot of Fightful on there, Pro Wrestling Sheet, all the different stuff. I want to see what's going on SmackDown real quick, because SmackDown is going on as we're talking. I'm just curious if anything exciting has happened. Looks like your boy Matt Riddle is going to fight AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title tonight. Bro,
yeah, bro,
are you excited?
Bro, yeah, I'm gonna jump right off and watch that match right now.
Yes. Let's see. There's basically, it looks like nothing's happened. Cesaro had a match with Big E, which I'm sure was good, but let's see. I'm not going to give the spoilers just in case someone listens to this before SmackDown somehow. Moment of Bliss, Asuka's on there. Asuka and Nikki Cross against the women's tag champs, Bayley and Sasha. That's apparently going on right now, because we're like 8:50 or so. So I was just curious if anything crazy had happened on SmackDown yet while we were recording here.
I saw, now I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that it's rumors, I guess. But I guess AJ Styles was a little mad that, I guess he's still mad that his boys got let go, and I guess really no one really told him.
Yeah, I saw something where he said he had felt kind of let down because they went there basically because of him, and then things just didn't. Sure. I mean, they're dead. They got blown up on a roof by the Undertaker.
It's true.
I'd be pretty devastated.
But you know what? If you're going to leave WWE, at least it wasn't like on a stupid storyline. The Undertaker killed you.
Well, I haven't seen them anywhere. They might be shoot dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Family's running their Twitter or something. You know, there's I've seen a few people who do like I guess you would call it like a kayfabe account, or what? Like the discussion treats wrestling as if it's real, and sometimes like that's one of the things. Like some people are really good at it, like just the subtlety where it's hilarious, and then some people just can't pull off like talking that way about it. But yeah, when people are just like, I just like after that WrestleMania, like I just can't believe that the Undertaker killed 2 people and he didn't even get suspended. It's like
sure.
So all that kind of stuff. But let me see here. Do you got like some video game stuff or anything to talk about? We definitely need an update on your long boy search. So
all right, well, let's go on over there.
Yeah, hold on.
Get over here!
Time's up. Let's do this.
All right. So I got the wowhead.com. I want to see if I can lock my computer up with all their ads and stuff.
Yeah.
So how goes the search for the long boy?
So I got 1 million and I want to say 400 gold. So,
okay. So not much more than what you had last week.
Yeah, not too much more. I've just been doing the jellies, and I mean, people been buying it, so.
Right. So real quick, just in case, because it seems like we get random people in from time to time, looking at viewers and states and stuff. In World of Warcraft, it's the MMO. The long boy mount is basically like a big brontosaurus type mount that has, like, in the game, there's an auction house where you find stuff throughout the world that's rare or crafting material, that kind of stuff. You can always sell that stuff on the auction house. Well, typically you have to go to one of the main cities to go to the auction house. That's not very convenient. So there's a mount in the game that actually has an auction house attached to it. But it's 5 million gold, which, depending on how you play the game, 5 million gold is a lot of gold to try to gather. And then they announced that they were removing it from the game. So I briefly thought I was going to try to get it, and then I realized that I was not. But Saul is still working on it. So
yeah, I like I said, I doubt that I will get it, but you know, hey, it gives me something to do in the game.
Well,
now,
all you got to do is if you run some old content, you know, you get one crazy blue drop, and you're halfway there all of a sudden.
Sure.
So.
Now I did read, and I hope it's true because I'm pretty excited about it. If it is. The pre-patch event for Shadowlands. I hear it's going to be a Scourge invasion, which I'm pretty excited.
It would make sense because Bolvar, like, we've already seen the cinematic. So a little bit of spoilers here. If you're totally isolating yourself from Shadowlands stuff, probably stop. Skip ahead a few minutes here. So that's your warning. So the trailer for Shadowlands, Sylvanas somehow just obliterates the Lich King's helmet, which we're all like, well, wouldn't that free up the Scourge? Like, what's going on here? So that's what, and everyone was like, well, wouldn't there be like crazy Scourge stuff going on? And we didn't really get an answer, but it sounds like there's some stuff that definitely hints towards a Scourge event.
Well, if they do it like they did with the Legion event was by far the coolest thing I experienced. So
yes, where they stole Rift's big hook.
Yes, basically they stole the idea from Rift. Yes.
Yes, which is fine because Rift ain't doing much with it nowadays.
So I think it'd be cool if you saw like the Scourge just show up like all over Azeroth.
Yeah, and just take it out.
Take it out.
Yeah, well, and have you followed any of the stuff where people are looking at like the beta or the alpha stuff for Shadowlands?
Some, yeah.
It seems like there are going to be an awful lot of systems.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Yeah.
It also seems like some of the things that you can do ability-wise with the Covenants, some of the stuff is insane.
Yes.
I have the feeling, excuse me, because I don't know if you know this, sometimes Blizzard does not do the best job of balancing stuff.
Yeah.
There is going to be some really broke stuff that they're going to have to fix within the first week, I have the feeling.
Oh, it's always the PvPers complaining. You're ruining my game.
Yeah.
Who cares?
The thing is, they can balance PvP abilities. Like,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, PvP stuff always, it drove me crazy when I played Rift, because they had balanced stuff around that, and it's like, well, yeah, but you completely gutted this ability, and it's ruined.
Sure.
Like, well, you've ruined my Chloromancer. Thanks. Like, so now we gotta figure out a different way to do it, and then as soon as we figure it out, you're gonna destroy it again. But yeah, it seems like there's just like a ton of systems and stuff. So
Yeah.
I did not get the beta, unfortunately. Maybe I will on the next wave, but
I wouldn't play it even if I did.
I would,
because it would just ruin the game for me.
I can play it to mess around with the stuff and see what's going on. Like, I like to have an idea of what the stuff is without getting like super leveled. Because I just want to see like how some of the systems are and play with them myself, as opposed to having to watch people stream and do it.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's going to be some really cool stuff. Being able to make your own legendary, the crafting. Like, I was watching a few people, like, they crafted stuff, and you can be like, oh, I want the, you get your strength or your intelligence strat, but be like, oh, I'm going to put in something to get crit and haste. So you're guaranteed to craft something that has crit and haste, which is a lot closer. Well, I mean, it's a fantasy game, so I know it's not, quite the same as when I go downstairs and I go to make a sandwich. I put my piece of bread down, and then I'll put some ham on, and then I put my top piece of bread on, and all of a sudden I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Uh-oh. Did Solomon disappear? Or did I disappear? We'll have to see what's going on here. But, let's see. So while I'm waiting to see if he comes back, or if I come back.
So, make sure your microphone is not on mute when you're trying to talk.
I was wondering if that's what it was, because everything else seemed to be looking good.
Yep.
But yeah, so do you like the whole where you can actually control your secondary stuff?
Yeah, I think that will make it pretty cool.
Right.
So.
Did you appreciate I go to make a ham sandwich and all of a sudden it turns into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yes.
'Cause that's what happens.
Yes.
At least they got rid of the Titan forging.
Yeah. That really irks Ross for some reason.
Well, once I assume, I don't know if somebody else said it or if I heard it on Asmongold's stream, someone said it, is where someone goes to McDonald's and they order like the 6-piece chicken McNugget meal, or you order the 6-piece chicken nugget meal or whatever it is, and then you're standing there waiting, and the person behind you orders the exact same thing, but there's McForges and they get like a milkshake and a 10-piece nugget. And you're like, well, what? I'm just unlucky? That's not fair. He just doesn't feel good.
Hey, life's not fair, buddy. I mean, this is how it works.
Well, yeah, but why make a completely unfair, punitive system in a video game for fun?
That's how it works, Ross. They're getting these kids ready for the real world.
Jeez, oh Pete. Well, like, I just don't, like, they used to have vendors. You run a dungeon, you might get the drop, or you get some currency. Worst case scenario, you can eventually buy a pretty good piece of gear.
You know what? Speaking of something that's unfair, I hate the current state of Battlegrounds right now in Hearthstone.
Are you Murgle?
Dude, there's nothing you can do if they get that stupid Brontosaurus thing with the
Megasaur.
Yeah, the Megasaur with bronze beard.
Yeah. No, you're playing for like second or third.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, your only real hope is to get Nefarian, where you can pop the Divine Shield.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to try to get Murlocs, but you can't.
Yeah, but they have poison. So it doesn't even matter if they if you pop their bubble because they have poison. So they just
Well,
kill
and
you.
they've been whoever's got the Murlocs gets the Cold Light Seer where they get the +2 health over
Yep.
and over.
Yep.
Yeah, they got to do something on Murlocs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had what I've been running into a lot, like regardless of who I play, is I just won't see anything. There was one game where I was Jiraxis.
Yeah.
I did not see a demon for I think it was like 5 turns into the game. So I was running Beast Jiraxis with a Soul Juggler. Because I saw a Soul Juggler and I was like, well, I'll eventually find a demon. And I finally did, but I was, it was over at that point.
Sure. It just feels bad. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
I've
great.
had some like where it's like, oh, I'm dominating. I'm doing really good. And then all of a sudden you'll run into someone who just I don't know if they just high rolled so high.
Yeah.
I guess is the way to put it. Like the one where you can dig for the golden minion.
Mm-hmm.
Like the golden minion they get will be like a 6-star gold minion, and you're like, what? Like
Well, I'll
somehow
tell you
they,
what.
like, I think it goes by the level you are, but like they high roll the gold minion, and you're just like, well, there's not going to be anything I can do about this.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tess. I've only had her once.
Yeah.
And I was not able to I was not able to win with her. I think I got like 4th or
She's
whatever.
the one where you use the ability, and it's whatever your opponent had the previous round.
Yes.
You get to pick from them.
Yes. And that is incredibly powerful right there. If you can get that working right, yeah.
The time I had it, I got it'd be, I'm trying to think, because I've had her twice. And one of them I was going pirates just because that's all I was really seeing.
Sure.
And I went against what's his name, Millhouse or somebody, and they had they had 3 pirates that any one of them would have been great for me, and they had random crap, and I got all the random crap.
Sure.
Like that happened to me 3 turns in a row, and I was like, great. Be like, I just needed one of 3, and I would have been in pretty good shape, and it just didn't go very well. I'll be curious. Do you play with HS Replays overlay?
Sometimes.
Okay. I do it just because if someone's into the Hearthstone Battlegrounds and they don't know about this, if you go to HS Replay, let me pull this up real quick on the browser here. But basically, you can download something. It works with Constructed, but the thing I like for the Battlegrounds is it gives you an overlay that tells you your percentage to win.
Yeah.
Versus lose versus tie. And I like that just so that I don't get in my own head where I'm like, because sometimes I'll look at it and be like, oh, I should definitely win. And it's like, dude, I'm 1% to win. And I start
Sure.
when you look at the board more, you're like, oh yeah, I have no chance of winning.
Yeah.
But at a first glance, you're like, oh yeah, I got this. So it is frustrating when you're 95% to win and they're 1% and then it's 4% to tie and they win. But it has helped me stop tilting so much.
Sure.
So, but yeah, you can go HS Replay. They got Battlegrounds. They have the little download thing you can do or whatever. It also gives you, when you get your heroes, there's a pop-up that'll come when you get the heroes, and it'll show you where those heroes are tier listed. So if you're just going for pure power, you'd be like, oh well, this current the Captain Eudora, the dig for a golden, is considered a tier 1 currently. There's a lot that are considered tier 2, so a lot of times you're just whichever one you're more comfortable with. But if you're just trying to go by I don't really want to play any of these, which one's considered the best? You can do it that way. But for let's see, Dancing Daryl, I do very good with. I am apparently not smart. I cannot play Captain Hook Tusk.
Yeah, no, I was watching all the streamers. They said that's the best hero.
Oh, I get dominated by Hook Tusk constantly. when it was where you could discover the one. I could never. It is possible that I had her so few times that I never actually got it to work right. But like I was looking at stuff and I was like, okay, so I want to be on this tier because if I can go Murloc, I can do. I could just never get. It could just be like where you just don't get lucky and get what you need. But yeah, like Deathwing I do good with, Jiraxis, Rafam I'm good with, Nosdormu I'm okay with. Like basically like all the tier ones are for the most part good. Tier 3 is where it falls apart for me. Like Sky Captain Crag with his get the extra gold. I hate that one.
Yep.
Millhouse.
Yep.
I'm like
I can't work Millhouse.
I either just get obliterated with Millhouse and I'm out like no, I'm first one out, or I'll be top 2. Unfortunately, it's more often that I am first one out because just things don't go right.
Sure.
I haven't played Patchwork forever. Like since they nerfed him from 60 down to 50, I haven't touched Patchwork.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I like Cindergrosa actually, like where you freeze them and they get like the +1. I always do pretty good with that.
I can't make.
What's that?
I can't make. I said I can't make that one work either.
That one for some reason that one makes sense to me, so I can usually get top 4 pretty well. But yeah, back to what you were saying, like the overall meta right now. Something I almost think if they got rid of the Toxfin Murloc that gives them poison, that would probably take care of it.
Probably, yeah.
Because the Murlocs would still be pretty strong, but when you get Wind Fury, Divine Shield, Poison Murlocs with 70 health, not a lot you can do there.
Nope.
Unless you also have the exact same build and somehow... I haven't seen a Megasaur when I've had Murlocs for 2 months.
Sure.
So
moving on, you want to move to a little bit of Batman news?
Oh, yeah. Here, let me do... Where is it? I got...
Maybe I could move the Earth out of the way.
If we had a week, I couldn't list all the reasons that way.
King Shark is a shark.
Not the beast!
All right, bumper's over, and I just threw my mic on the keyboard. So, I was trying to type, and it's gotten dark in the room I'm in, and I have not gotten up to turn the light on. So, all right. So you had a conversation you were saying with somebody about Batman.
Yeah. So let's see what you think about this.
Okay.
So the kid I was working with, he's about like 14, 15, and he brought this up. I was like, you know what? He makes some good point here. He's like, you know what? He's like, when you're watching a Batman movie or Batman cartoon, whatever, what do you think? What is the best portrayal of Batman? Because he's like, my personal opinion, Batman in the movies are all terrible portrayals of Batman. I was like, you know what? He has a very good point. So, being a fan of Batman,
yes.
What do you think about that?
I think the Christian Bale Batmans were probably the better Batman portrayals, but when you compare it to the comics, the comics, or even like Batman the Animated Series, those Batmans are always better. Comic books totally unfair, because you can do like the inner monologue basically, or like the thought bubbles, where he's thinking things out. So it's hard. It's not a fair comparison. But yeah, like in the movies compared to the comic books or even like animated series, that Batman would lose. Movie Batman would lose to comic book Batman almost every time.
Well, I mean, I agree with you that Christian Bale Batman is probably the best, I guess. But when you was watching The Dark Knight with Joker, there's a part of you like, wow, Joker is actually kind of smarter than Batman here.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just made me reevaluate. I'm like, you know what? Right, Batman in all the movies, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely makes like less than intelligent decisions. I did a Google search for "is Batman smart?" and it says that Batman is incredibly smart. He is cited to have an IQ of 192. That's very impressive. And then it says, but doesn't really mean much other than explaining how his brain can fit all the info. But yeah, basically it's like he's just like super smart or whatever. But yeah, like comic book Batman, they can take longer on the stories.
It's true. Yeah.
Kind of like
it goes back to what we always said though. I mean, the animated movies, they're just better stories. So
yeah. Well, even just the Batman or Superman animated series from back in the 90s crushes the movies, I think. Like Mask of the Phantasm is probably a better movie than a lot of the Batman movies.
Yeah. I'll probably have to agree with you that. The one Batman movie where it's Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And where Joker comes back, that's a really good one too.
Yeah, that one was crazy. Because I was wondering how they were going to do that. Yeah, Batman Beyond, I'm still let down that we haven't gotten... Well, it's funny.
We may be getting it. You don't know.
I'm let down that we haven't because it seems like such an easy story to tell.
Yes.
However, you would think Superman would be a fairly easy story to tell. But apparently not.
Yeah. Well, it also goes back to just anything like fantasy. I love fantasy movies with wizards and dragons, whatever. There's very few good fantasy movies. It's like you can do anything. The book is open. You can whatever, and
like the
Warcraft
Warcraft
not a lot of people
movie.
Can do it. Sure, well, the Warcraft
what a
movie
letdown.
is good example.
Like we have these awesome characters like Jaina and Thrall that are established and can do sweet stuff. Khadgar. Hey, let's go back in time 1 billion years and just
yes. And let's make the armor look incredibly ridiculous.
You would never think that if they're like, hey, they're going to make a Warcraft movie, what do you think they're going to do? Probably something kind of recent, maybe. I don't know.
No.
Like, what if we told you that it'd be the very first time that the Dark Portal was like, well, there's not really very many interesting characters for that.
Yeah.
Like, what if we told you they're going to use almost zero magic, no wizards in this movie at all? Like,
yeah.
But wouldn't that make it really cool? Yeah, it would. They're not going to do any of that. Priest? Nope. So
it's like
so is it just like a monster movie? Pretty much.
It's like but what someone in the meeting like, hey, why don't we do a movie about Arthas? We could do a whole trilogy about that. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Nope, do Dark Portal.
Like, we'll save that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, assuming that Blizzard doesn't just implode on itself, maybe we'll get like. Did you watch any of the Castlevania animated stuff?
No.
If you get time and you're just wanting something different, maybe check it out. I don't know if you'll like the art style.
I think that's why I didn't watch it, because I don't like the art style.
If you're into Castlevania at all, it might be interesting, but it's one of those things where, like, oh, Blizzard could do a cartoon like that and do different story arcs, and it would probably be good. Like, the dialogue's technically already written. You just got to get some voice actors in there and animate it.
Sure.
Kind of like they did for Warlords of Draenor, where, like, all the different warlords, they had, like, the unique art style kind of animations for them to tell the story. Yeah. You could do that with the whole Arthas story, and I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I already know the story. I could probably recite half the voice lines, and I'm not even that into it. But I'd still watch it if they did it. Be like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
Well, until they
because
have like Arthur selling ice cream in Shadowlands.
I had because I was watching Netflix earlier today, and they showed this new movie called Curse. And it looks like it's gonna be a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that looks good. And I was like, you know what? It's just gonna be a letdown. I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna have such high hopes it's gonna be good, and just yeah.
It's Cursed, like Cursed.
Yes.
Drama season 1. I'm pulling a picture up here. We got people with swords.
Yeah.
Does it have wizards?
Sure. It might. They have some kind of oracle or whatever. Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Arthurian legend told through the young heroine, mysterious gift who's destined to become the powerful and tragic. Okay, so the character is going to become the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to have Merlin, an ancient sword.
Yeah.
That sounds. That sounds like that should be good.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to watch that new movie or that new TV series on Netflix. What's it called? It's that video game that everyone likes, The Witcher.
Yeah.
I have tried like so many times to get into that. I just can't do it. It just
I've played the game. Like they've had it on free a couple times, like a free weekend or whatever. I just couldn't get into the game.
Yeah.
Although, truthfully, like right now, I can't get into any video games.
You know what? I will. Yes, I will agree with that. You're old. You're just an old man.
I guess so. Like, and it's not that I'm not trying. Like, I've bought a few games where I was like, oh, I'm gonna like. I have Red Dead Redemption 2. I got kind of into it, but then it was just like, I was just not feeling it. And then I'll just play some Battlegrounds.
Sure.
I downloaded recently from the Blizzard launcher the Call of Duty the Warzone, where it's the Battle Royale game, because they have a solo mode now. When it first launched, there was only squads, I believe. So that game, the tutorial is really hard to get through because you have to do things that you can't do. Yeah. So, like, one of the things that was driving me crazy is, like, you modern weapons and stuff like that, you're supposed to mount your, like, this machine gun on, like, an object so that your aiming is better. Well, it tells you that it's mouse button 5, but it's really the Z key. You know how you find that out? You have to go online. There's something else where they have, like, contracts that you can pick up that are on, like, kind of like an iPad or a tablet.
Yeah.
It spawns inside a wall. So what you have to do is if you wait like 10 minutes, it spawns it in a different place. Yeah, how you find that out? You try searching for 10 minutes online, find no response, and then it spawns it somewhere different for you. So that drove me insane. So I haven't really played a ton of that, but it's first person, so you can't get... I don't know if you've played third-person competitive shooters where people basically peek around corners when they shouldn't be able to. But yeah, so I'm trying to find something, but it's basically just play Hearthstone and then check the auction house on Warcraft, then browse through Steam for 20 minutes trying to find a new game.
Yeah. Well, I think we're kind of rounding out here towards the end. The moral of the story is Ross needs to find his youth again, I guess.
Something. So, all right. Well, I'm going to hit the outro here for us. Everybody, have a good week.
Great week. It's the end thing to do. Sure.
Where it's like, oh,
all
I can
right,
just play and stop. So, All right.
I did get off here, but
Take it easy.
I will talk to you later, I guess.
Later.